Cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1620. I'm your host, Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Podcastro Valley Ton today. Yes, we are in a different location. We haven't been able to do a super secret Sunday show in a couple of weeks because I've been so busy at my part-time job. So Mike's Daily Podcast. But it's a nice job overall. I do work with some interesting people that Mike's Daily Podcast. I kind of miss if I don't see them, but I'll have to tell you funny stories sometime. But I have to be careful because my lines that I read on my show, I sometimes get caught saying things and it comes back to haunt me, and then I am bling bling sad. That was my song. Mike's Daily Podcast. A meaningful song that meant a lot to you, I'm sure. How come I can't hear myself very well? Let me take off my big hat. Mike's. There we go. Daily. I have this enormous hat. Podcast. That I think by all accounts is ugly. Ugly hat. But I like wearing it because, well, it's warm. But it looks like I washed it with a bunch of napkins in the laundry. Yesterday, I walked with my lady friend. Oh, look who just walked in. Not my lady friend. No, she didn't walk in. But this person did. Hi, Mark. It's Benita, the rodeo queen. How y'all doing? I thought I was your friend. You're my friend, Benita. Look who else walked in.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
We brought a couple other people with us. Yeah, it's a disgruntled fiddle player. Tell you what.
What?
Good to be here. Hi, Benita.
Hi, DFP. Oh, isn't that a beautiful, cute little term of endearment, DFP? And look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. I'm the Brewmaster. Oh, boy, Brewmaster.
Yes. Somebody I work with likes to make fun of that character voice. And they say that I ripped it off from the show that was not watched.
And here's today's podcast picture.
By anyone called The Cleveland Show. And you know what? I did not. And he knows darn well that I have been doing the Brewmaster's voice since the 90s, because I knew him back in the 90s as such. My point being, get off my back! No. That is basically, the podcast picture is of Basil the Boxer and I, as we were in Monterey at the aquarium. This was about a month ago. And we were walking along, and there were some nice people that took a picture of Basil and I. There he is now, barking away. And yeah, it was fun. And yeah, the Russians helped Trump win the election. Thank you, Elizabeth Warren.
America elected Donald Trump.
For that.
And yeah, the Russians helped.
For that insight. I had such a good time with my lady friend, my lovely lady, LLP, a lovely lady person. And we went to, so I've been to a lot of interesting places around the Bay Area, and it's so nice to finally to get to share with someone some of these places. And I think that's why I like relationships a lot, is you get to share. And I guess I like doing this podcast because I share stories like this, me sharing about something, and I'm sharing, share alike. So in our little Mike-excursion yesterday, we went to Harbor Bay Isle, which I have posted many pictures from. She has lived in the Bay Area for over a decade. She's never been there. So she was really excited to go, and I felt really happy to show her. And we had Basil the Boxer with us, and it was a lovely time. I think we sometimes get into little boxes, and we were discussing this, where you get into a box and you don't ever get out, and you need to keep experiencing things with each other. And I think that's basically the whole point of what we were discussing earlier. One of the things we shared yesterday was I was discussing and sharing with her a love for some bands that were around in the 80s. And usually about the time that I start discussing things like this, in the past, friends that I've talked to, their eyes glaze over and they don't care anymore, and they've lost the thread of the conversation and they don't care. But she, my LLP, was really, really interested in what I was saying about the band Split Enz. I got you, and that's all I want. Remember that band? Or they actually transformed into Hey Now, Don't Dream It's Over, Crowded House later on. And Neil Finn, who's just a fantastic singer-songwriter. And he sounds, I played her some of the stuff that he's done recently. And recently he sounds even better now. So just what a fantastic, actually, I have a little bit of the... Split Enz, when they performed about 10 years ago.
There's no doubt when I'm with you, you're always out.
You get on my nerves. I don't know.
Sometimes I get
All right, I'm going to do something right now, if you'll permit me. There is a new song by Taylor Swift, and I have not seen the video for it. Now, I would love to play you the song, which, by the way, here's my opinion about Taylor Swift. Any song she does will sound infinitely better if the person by the name of Lorde does it, because Lorde is the true talent, and Taylor Swift knows that. So, all right, this song is called Delicate. It sounds like Taylor Swift. It sounds like Lorde. And Taylor Swift and Lorde have this rivalry going on. They used to be friends. Lorde got to show up at a couple Taylor Swift shows and sing. But Taylor Swift knows darn well that Lorde is the true talent. So, okay, in this video for Delicate, and I'm not playing it because I don't want to get dinged by YouTube, she's walking through some hotel and all these fans are attacking her. This is her follow-up song to, by the way, Look What You Made Me Do. Oh, now she's walking backwards. She's walking forwards with her bodyguards. And now she's looking at her reflection, at her big pouty, over lipstick lips. Too much lipstick, Taylor Swift. Okay, now she's doing goofy faces. Okay, I can't watch any more of this crap. Oh, Lorde is infinitely more talented. Here she is doing In the Air Tonight.
I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh, Lord.
But Mike, she sounds weird when she sings. Yeah, I love that.
Can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh, Lord.
Here's the thing. She's a couple years younger than Taylor Swift. I see her being around much longer than Taylor Swift because there's true talent in Lorde. That's my opinion, and I stick by it. Oh, so we discussed a lot of music from the 80s, my LLP and I. We had just a fantastic evening, and I think tonight, that was Cinco de Mayo. I think tonight we're going to have a Cinco de Mayo celebration in that we're going to go to a Mexican restaurant. Woo! La 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 la. It's going to be so much fun. Even though it'll be 6 de Mayo, but whatever. I also wanted to mention that I work with, as I mentioned earlier, some interesting people. And one of them does this kind of passive-aggressive thing that I've never been able to understand. And I guess I'm doing a passive-aggressive thing, not talking to him directly about this, but talking to him on the podcast. But if I don't give him my attention right away, he texted me at, let's see, what time was it? I know it was this morning, and I was busy doing stuff. I was with my lovely lovely LLP, lovely person. And so we're having a great time. And then all of a sudden, he's like texting me. And he texts, "Hey," this is at 9:54. "You alive?" 10:14. 10:16. I ask him, why? And he says, "I had a question for you." And then like 1 minute later, he goes, "Never mind, all good." And I went, okay. So basically, he's like, "Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me." And I didn't answer him right away. It took me a half hour to respond, right? I had stuff going on. I was taking a shower, getting ready for the day. And because I didn't look at him, okay, so then I come into work and I see him in person. And I go, "What was the text all about?" And he goes, "Oh, I had a job for you, but you didn't respond to me right away, so I gave it to my other friend. Sorry, but I didn't want to tell you because you get mad at me." And he's right. And I got mad and I told you about it on my podcast. But what is that? Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. What is that? No. And I know we're in the entertainment biz, and the entertainment biz is all about Taylor Swift going, "Look at me, look at me, look at me, my pouty lips. Look at me, look at me, look at me." But look at my music video. Go see my shows. Blah, 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 blah. Why can't we be more like Lorde, who's, "I'm singing really weird, and in the aisle, we get my things, I don't let go. I green light, I'm for it. I know this say to do the bow, whoa, whoa, whoa. And we did it there, and we got that the champagne looking in the slate thing, we don't care. I know you're sick of that song by now, but we'll never be passive aggressive. Ugh. You know, Facebook shows you your stats. What does that mean? Okay, in podcasting, you would like to know that a lot of people are listening to the show. I know I don't have any listeners. I don't try and fake listeners. I don't try and if I'm at a job with a bunch of computers, put my podcast on all the computers and have them play. I don't do that. That's called cheating, and I don't do it. If you listen to this show, I get a little like, oh, somebody downloaded it. Somebody play on it. Somebody wanted to hear it. And that's great, and I appreciate that. Thank you. But I will tell you this, that you can find out what the deal is with you and Facebook. How many people like your stuff by this little thing they do, like they gave me today. Your April moments on Facebook. And I found out my friend Karen from Huntsville, Alabama, gave me more likes than anyone else. And I feel special. Thank you, Karen. And she's awesome. She makes these honey puff pancakes that I used to enjoy when I was in Alabama. So, but that's great. And that's kind of funny that Facebook does that for you and shows you that. And that's about all I wanted to cover today on Mike's Daily Podcast. What? We're only 13 minutes into the show? What? Here. So I heard about the plot line to the movie that is the biggest movie in the country. Well, basically anything Marvel puts out now becomes the number one movie and stays number one for a long time. Black Panther to it. So now we got this Infinity Wars movie. I have no desire to see it. It has been criticized. A lot of people praise it. A lot of sheeple praise it because, oh my God, it's Marvel. Oh! But there are a lot of people that die in this movie. I'm not happy with that. And somebody said from the New York Times, considered on its own as a single nearly 2 hour, 40-minute movie, Avengers Infinity War makes very little sense. A comic book action superhero movie that's 2 hours and 40 minutes, nearly 3 hours long, has no place in my life at all. Just thought you'd know. You should know that. There's no reason why if you're going to do an action popcorn blockbuster thriller, you keep it under 2 hours. You figure something to edit out. Don't make it 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's a movie you go see that's up for an Oscar, like Gandhi or something, but not A stupid Marvel comic movie. Come on. But the New York Times guy did concede that it was never meant to be viewed or judged in isolation. Richard Brody of The New Yorker agreed, stating, the insubstantiality of the film isn't due to the infinite yet flimsy malleability of CGI gimmickry, but instead to the dispersion of its drama throughout the many cinematic installations set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's the other thing. I'm so over CGI. Everything gets so CGI. And, you know, people love it. It's going to be the biggest movie of all time, probably. Stephanie Zacharek of The Times said, it isn't really a beginning, but more of a middle or an end with a new piece of yarn attached. You need to have seen and internalized every one of the previous 18. That's right. There's 18 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies to fully get it. And Justin Chang of the LA Times called it, quote, a brisk, propulsive, occasionally rousing, and borderline gutsy continuation of a saga that finally and sensibly seems to be drawing to a close, but called its ultimate bid for catharsis unsuccessful, saying, quote, not even the threat of universal annihilation, it seems, will keep this assembly line from chugging ahead with its signature polished, mechanized efficiency. Scott also criticized the action sequences, calling them tedious and predictable. Oh, that's what I get so tired of the freaking Marvel movies. It's always the same formula. You create this massive villain who's indestructible. You get fight scene after fight scene that becomes utterly predictable. Oh, how many chase scenes can we have? How many fist on fist scenes can we have? How many blow this up, blow up that city can you have? Blow up that planet. It just gets so tiring. And then the villains become so big that when they kill them off, the villains actually never die. They come back in some way. So what's the point? There's no end. There isn't some wonderful, nothing's ever tied. No yarns are ever tied up. It sucks. I can't stand it. Scott also criticized the action sequences, calling them tedious and predictable in writing. He wrote, the noisy, bloated spectacles of combat were surely the most expensive parts of the movie, but the money seems less like an imaginative tool than a substitute for genuine imagination. Likewise, Zacharek said, there's no pacing in Avengers Infinity War. It's all sensation and no pulse. Everything is big all the time. And I have not seen it. But just reading those reviews confirms what I was feeling about it. Giuliani says Trump doesn't have to comply with Mueller's subpoena and could invoke the Fifth Amendment. President Trump would not have to comply with the subpoena issued by the special counsel investigating Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election, could invoke the Fifth Amendment if he does sit down with him. We don't have to comply with the subpoena, said Giuliani, the former New York mayor who recently joined Trump's legal team. He's the president of the United States. We can assert the same privileges other presidents have. Giuliani's claims come less than a week after the Washington Post reported that special counsel Robert Mueller, who is seeking to interview Trump, had raised the possibility of subpoenaing the president during a meeting this year. Trump has shaken up his legal team in recent days, seeking to take a more aggressive response to the probe that has engulfed much of his presidency. Wanted to mention, too, today is the big day. Not only is it Cinco de Seis, it is also the day that Friends ended. You know, Friends lasted how many seasons? Guess. 9, 8, 11, 12, 15, 20? No, 10. 10 seasons. Ross, Rachel, Phoebe, Joey, Monica, and Chandler had their last cup of coffee together after a decade of comedic, personal, and professional struggles. The final series drew 52.5 million viewers, making it the most watched TV episode of the 1990s. I'm sorry, of the O's, since it ended in 2004. I don't know if you have enjoyed anything that those actors have done since. I really don't know of anything. I mean, you've got, what's his name? didn't Joey do was it Joey did some kind of show on Showtime? And then Lisa Phoebe did like a psychiatrist show. I don't know. And then Chandler was in The Odd Couple. And then you had Ross was like a giraffe in some movie. And then Monica gets all that plastic surgery. Oh my gosh, and she regrets it. It's sad. But I don't know. I have faith in those actors finding maybe a project that will maybe nothing they do from here on will ever rival Friends, but we can enjoy Friends, right? And enjoy those actors. No matter what becomes of them, we wish them well. Warren Buffett, however, does not wish Bitcoin well. The Oracle of Omaha reiterated his negative view on the cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is probably rat poison squared, he said. He's presiding in the Berkshire Hathaway 2018 annual shareholder meeting. He did that yesterday. In January, Buffett warned investors about the craze over Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. In terms of cryptocurrencies, generally, I can say with almost certainty that they will come to a bad ending. If I could buy a 5-year put on every one of the cryptocurrencies, I'd be glad to do it, but I would never short a dime's worth. That's financial technical jargon that I cannot friggin' interpret. But the Zika scare of 2016 could lead to a yellow fever panic if South Florida residents let down their guard when it comes to protecting themselves from disease-carrying mosquitoes. I will be in Florida in August, but I'll be in more of the north part of Florida. There hasn't been a yellow fever outbreak in the U.S. in more than 100 years, but state health officials are concerned that a large outbreak in Brazil and others in South and Central America could lead to infected travelers bringing the disease to South Florida, which has the right mosquitoes and climate for it to spread. The disease is deadlier than Zika virus. Zika raised alarms because many infected pregnant women gave birth to infants having microcephaly, a condition that causes abnormally small heads and developmental defects. Most people infected with yellow fever will get symptoms so minor they won't realize they have been infected. Even for those who do notice, the symptoms such as fever, chills, and headache don't make it stand out from many other diseases. But for about 15% of the infected, the initial symptoms pass and then come back with a vengeance within a day, causing internal bleeding and jaundice, the yellowing of the skin that gives the fever its name, the failure of the liver and other organs. Of those, up to half die, usually within a week or two. So, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention warned travelers in March not to go to yellow fever hotspots in Brazil unless they were vaccinated. And, one other interesting thing about Rudy Giuliani, as we go outside a cafe anyway where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, is that he is prosecuting now the people, or he's leading the kind of people he used to prosecute. Eric Swalwell, he is our representative in Podcastro Valley, where I live. He tore into Rudy Giuliani today for defending President Trump, saying the former New York mayor is now protecting the kind of people he used to prosecute. He was responding to Giuliani's comment earlier Sunday that Trump wouldn't have to comply with a possible subpoena from special counsel Robert Mueller. And Eric said, you know who talks like this? You know who else thinks the law doesn't apply to them? You know who else takes the fifth? The mob. Well said, Swalwell. Mr. Mayor, you who used to prosecute people like this, he said. Now you're leading them. Giuliani, yes. Okay, let's wrap up the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for not being passive-aggressive with me today on the show. Next show, we will have the wonderful Valentino and Bison Bentley will pop by again. Also, Madame Rootabega. That picture, did I mention, was from Monterey and the aquarium with Basil the Boxer. This was a month ago. And yes, I have not been to the aquarium in probably over 10 years now. But that is a neat thing to say in Monterey. a neat thing to see. And also neat is the beautiful scenery from the aquarium, which is what I just simply enjoy without actually having to pay for the aquarium. But it is a nice place to go. Okay. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for listening to the Super Secret Sunday Show. If you're listening to this during the week, I hope it's a great week. Okay, let's go. Bye.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.